guys, I'm gonna let everybody get in. I'm just gonna do some Gellin play, and I might do a watercolor in a little bit. I have one ready, little bird. Let me back the camera out a little bit while we're waiting for everybody to get in who's going to come in. For those of you who are watching the recording of this later, this is a live stream, so I am talking to real people in the chat, which I left down below, so you're welcome to kind of see what was going on. Hi, Shauna. Feel free to skip ahead if you get bored. And I was just pulling some stencils to use, but I wanted to try the tape technique that some of you may have seen in Jelly Art's recent video. And we may jelly print on some napkins too. Hi, Kat. All right, so in the video that they did, they put a paint down to start with, and then they used Scotch tape. So I'm going to go ahead and try that first. And I'm just going to do a little bit of green gold PBO. I'm not sure that is super necessary. I think they were just trying to maybe make their tape stick better. I'm not sure. So I'm just going to put a real thin layer of paint. And I have Scotch tape, and all they did was put Scotch tape across the plate, but they left gaps intentionally between them. But I don't have a whole lot of tape here at the house, so like I said, we'll try this. And then I cut up a transparency, which is what's over here. And I thought we would try it with some pieces of transparency. Too, because then you could use that over and over. Like this piece of tape is a little bit, well, I'm trying to get the tape off the edges. Now, this is a good way to clean your plate for sure. And you could use packing tape if you wanted wider planks, or let me get out a piece of packing tape. I don't have a lot of it either. And we'll put a strip of packing tape in there. I am going to move that packing tape just a little closer. All right, and then let's get my Scotch tape. I actually think that could be more interesting, to be honest with you. So I'm going to take this tape and move it down, and this one and move it down. And I'm going to put another piece of packing tape before I do that. I'm going to take this one off real quick. And I'm going to put another piece of packing tape in here. Now, there is one benefit in using the darker color paint. on that first layer, as you can see where the tape is. And that may be the, I mean, like I said, I think the reason why they used the paint on the plate to begin with was they wanted to pick it up with the tape. Okay. Now I just put a piece of tape somewhere. Okay. Oh, there it is. I thought I was losing my mind there for a minute. All right. Take that tape back and put it back up there. Okay, so that has the plate ready. And let's take, now it wants to update my computer. No. All right. Hey, Amar. Welcome. I saw that dot. I saw your stream early this morning. Of course, it was, you know, and then I rolled back over and went to sleep. It was already over. I stayed up really late, y'all. I miss Patty. Okay, so I want to work with some pastels today, which is not my normal thing. And that's mainly because I'm just like needing that in my collage fodder. I don't do it very often. And so then when I do it, okay. And on this first one, I'm not going to do like two colors and get the grunge look. I'm just going to do the one color. And just get a solid. So you can sort of see the lines, but I'm thinking when we put the next layer, and we'll put a layer on here, you can sort of see the lines, but let's try leaving that green and maybe doing a little bit of a teal. And maybe a little purple. And let's throw in a little Titan buff, which is, like I said, not my typical, like these Easter egg colors is not my typical palette. And I don't want to over mix it. And let's try that on top of the green and see what we get. And it might obliterate that whole green. But I'm thinking we'll pick up some of the green. I hate when the chat disappears. Okay, I got a piece of tape up off this tape stuck from the plate, picked up off the plate. Now, I'm assuming this all green side is the sticky side. So that's kind of a downfall. Let's try seeing if we can get another print. I'm not getting the painted wood grunge look that they got. Because maybe too much paint, because this has got it a little more. To see how the lines are in there. Okay, so I'm going to take the tape off. And they were basically saying you could save the tape to use it in art. But I'm going to tell you right now, I won't. I've tried that before, where we did the jelly plate and then we picked it up with tape, and you got really pretty tape. But I never liked using that tape in the collage, to be honest with you. I just didn't like this texture in collage. So what I want to try doing is getting the same look with the strips of the transparency and a little more traditional method, and see if we can get the same look. Yeah, when the chat just goes away and disappears. I watched I watched the jelly printing video on YouTube and saw it done over there on a video that they released yesterday. All right, so what I'm going to do is let's try to do a light green again. And I'm going to add a little bit of that PBO to give it some shimmer, because this has got mica powder in it, which is why it is so pretty, those Dynacolors. All right, and I'm just going to do a thin layer. And I still have lines on my paper. Okay, so then I'm just going to take the transparency pieces that I've already cut and lay them on the plate like a stencil. So you can see here's the waxy paper, and I'm going to leave gaps like you would have on a plank of wood. And you can cut these at different widths. Basically, I'm making my own transparency. And these little white strips, I would throw away, or I will throw away. It was just easier to see the individual pieces. Once you get paint on the transparency, they'll become like your stencils, and they're all painty. Some of them I cut a little wider than others. All right, so I'm going to do kind of what Paula Journal Artista calls oh God, what do we call it? I'm going to pick up that green first. We're going to layer the paint. Crusty bits. God, my brain was just gone. All right, so that's going to take out, so that added some more lines to that. And I'm going to flip this over and try to get a little more off that. All right, and then I'm going to take these off. And you can see the paint's coming off with those, but it's leaving those ridges of paint. And we're going to do like a cleanup print. Let's do a cleanup print with just the Titan Buff with this. And then we'll try another. We'll try those again in another way or method. When you do a cleanup print, or what Paula calls crusty bits, you want a thin layer of paint. And I probably have a little more than I need. So I'm going to roll some of that paint off. What you're trying to do is get the wet paint to adhere to the dry paint and help you pick it up. And I like to be able to kind of see the previous print. And I'm just going to take a clean piece of paper. And when I put the paper down on this layer, I like to let it sit because you want to give it time. Yeah, crusty bits. And today the camera wouldn't recognize my camera. I had to turn the computer off again today, Shauna. Okay, this is going to give me a really good pastel. It's not as weathered. You can see those lines. And you can see that shimmer. All right, so let's try it. This time I want to try it with a darker color. So I'm going to use a darker green and I'm going to use a green blue. And I'm not going to do like a little cleanup. I'm just going to, I'll show you. So I'm going to add that little bit of turquoise to that green. And I'm going to let it mix there. I'm just kind of swirling my brayer so I get a fairly even mix. Now I probably will still get some of that light green and Titan buff off the paper. All right, let's put these back on the plate. We'll leave them on this time like they did. In a minute, I'm going to add this dark green to that light green that we just did. All right, so let's add this to that. And get those kind of stuck in that paint. All right, so that gave more of the wood look. That gave more of the barn look, definitely. All right, so now we've got probably a little bit of green. Let's add a little pink. Let's add this, maybe this teal. I'm going to get crazy and I'm going to add a little bit of a red up here. Whoa, look what that did. Let me get a brush. That just like exploded. Well, let's get rid of that in my hand. All right, and let's kind of try to get that grunge feeling that they got. Some orange would have been good in this mix. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know that we're going to get the lines. Oh. Yeah, I did. Because look what it did, y'all. It picked up the transparency bits. It picked up those pieces of transparency. Because you've got paint on the top and paint on the bottom. That tore the paper. It's got paper stuck on that one. I wonder if the type of paint, because I don't normally have this problem with transparencies or not stencils. I wonder if it's because it's made out of transparency material. That tore that paper. But what I'll do is spray that later and still use it in collage. Okay, but this looks good. This looks like super yummy on here. Okay, so let's try something different in just a second. Let's ditch these because if they're going to tear the paper, they're no good. And let's try something different in just a minute. Let's let that dry. What I'm going to get out and we can try is when I cut my stencils, I cut them out of index dividers. Maybe there's something on that transparency. Yeah, there's a chemical, most likely, Jeannie, there's a chemical on that transparency that for when it does that heat, you know, because when you put it, the way that transparencies, I never have paper tearing when I jelly print. But I would guess that there's something in that on that transparency that caused it. So let's try cutting some strips out of this while we're waiting for that to dry, because this is going to be good, but I want to pick it up with the Titan Buff and do a cleanup. So let me just, all I'm doing is, I'm not worried about precision. I'm just cutting some plank-like pieces, and I think I'm going to cut some wider than others, definitely. Now I will have that little hole there to deal with, but I hardly ever do a whole piece of paper. I cut mine and tear it up. Okay. So that gives me some pieces that are different sizes. All right, and let's put a little bit of the, I think that's dry enough now. Let's put some of the Titan Buff. I don't want a whole lot. I just want enough to do a cleanup print and try to pick up all those layers. See how I can still see sort of the tape pieces? That's how I know it's thin enough. All right. And we may not see much of that Titan Buff. Just here and there in some background. But basically what that wet paint is doing is adhering to the dry paint. And when I do this, I do like make sure it has time then to stick to the paper. If you have too much paint, you'll just get a solid color and you won't pick up anything. But this is a really good way to clean up your plate. All right, that was a good one. And you can see that, can you see some of that mica shimmer? All right, so let's get away from the green. So let me put the green away real quick. I'll get me some baby white. I found with these artist lofts, they don't want to shut unless I clean the tips really well. All right, let's try a magenta color. Give me that green. Okay, I'm going to remove the greens so I don't go to them. Okay. And then these are just strips, almost like you would have a regular stencil. And I know that these strips will not make the paper tear. Okay, let's find a super skinny one. Okay. I'm going to add this little bit of burgundy on here, the magenta. All right, and let's pull those off. And I'm going to let that dry. We'll try this a couple different ways. Let's see if we can get some. Let's see if I can get some white out. This white's pretty much, I think. Oh, and it might be kind of gunky, but I think it'll be okay for this grunge look. Let's throw that away. Let's do some pink. And I want to throw in a little bit of this yellow here and there. I'm really fond of yellow and red or yellow and pink, that coral color you get when you mix them. And they don't totally mix. All right, I'm just trying to clean up this bottle so it's not quite as exploding. Okay. Throw some of this extra stuff away that's around me. I did take the green away. I put it back in the drawer. Because now I have enough pieces that are green, and I have a lot of green anyways. I was trying to get baby greens. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, this white is going to stay splotchy. It's not going to spread. So who knows what we're going to get on this one, because that white was no good. I think we'll get some peach with the magenta if we don't get, there might have been too much paint on there with that white. Right now, that's just kind of a pukey flesh. It's actually not a bad flesh color. See, it was so much paint, but I'm going to save that to use. Let's let that dry. And let's add a pickup color. I think I'm going to try this. I'm thinking about this green gold. Or, no, let's try this gilt, which is kind of a bronzy gold. Let's see if we can't do a cleanup print. It was either that or a copper, and I probably should have gone with the copper. But we'll see. I have a Logitech C930. Shauna, is my camera? I don't know why it's just started doing that. The last, ooh. I actually like that. I've got those lines that gives it kind of the wood look. Yeah, it didn't do it at the beginning. It's just the last 2 times that I've gone to stream. And I check allow, and I'm just trying to clean up some of the stuff on the plate. I don't care if I get that extra grunge on there. I actually kind of like that. I like this one. Okay, I just had some stuff pop up that was weird. Did mods have to kick somebody out? All right, so, okay, let's try the magenta. Actually, yeah, let's try the magenta again. I gotta switch my brayer paper because I think I want to add some lines. Okay, I'm going to add these back on. You might hear Bob in the background. I don't know if you can hear him or not. He's practicing scales, it sounds like. Okay, let's add this lines to this. So that has sort of the feel that it even transferred some of that white onto the top of those. Okay, now let's leave those in place and try some of the paint on top the way they did and see what happens. Let's try a light teal. in a more, let's just try 3 different teals. And a little PBO. There's another, I have 2 more of these that I don't have out. There's probably a little too much of this paint. So I'm just going to remove a little bit of that. Okay, let's see what we can get here with the stuff still on the top. Okay, I kind of got what they got. So you see where the white parts are? All right, and let's take those off. I will say the one thing about this is you end up with like paint on both sides of your stencil. Not that much comes off. Okay, I think I want to stop messing around and see if I can pull. I like what's on the plate right there. Let's see if we can pull any of that up. I was trying to brayer the stencil pieces to see if I could get some of the paint off where they're not as sticky. Because both sides are sticky. Now, because usually when you use, and that old white paint was sticky. Yeah, I think this one is going to be a good one. I think there'll be some contrast. Okay, I like it. It's not as much the weathered board look as what they had in the video. But I do think like pieces of, you know, if you just had a piece of this in something, it could be good. Let's move away from the stripes and the weathered board look because I'm bored with the weathered board look. Another day. So I'm going to save those. Okay. Let's try to get, here's a different white. I'm going to get a little white. I'm trying to get a baby pink because I never have. I have some baby pink paints behind me. I don't buy a lot of baby pink paint. Let's just do white with pink. Keep that splotchy there. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and do that as a base layer. Missed the edge of the plate there. still have some of those lines on there, but they're faint. But I do like that. Let me see if I can get this little bit. This is kind of what I need, is I need some pink. So let's do, let me get a different pink, because I have some. Have some paler. I don't print much in pink, and then I end up using it on stuff. I need more paper too. Okay. Okay, let's put a this is the Americana Satin, which I thought I would like, but I don't really. I'm trying to use it up. I got it to use in pours. Super thin. Okay, so let's add a layer of that just to some white. And maybe go with a darker pink on top of it, maybe a little magenta through a stencil. Hi, Kia. Okay, so that's a good baby pink base. Just baby pink. Let's try, this is a little darker pink. It's called Flamingo. It's an Eileen color. There we go. I'm going to need more. They're so watery compared to the others is the problem. All right, let's try. I'm going to throw some different stencils down there. A chevron. And I'm going to throw this on the side. And I don't know if this pink's going to show up on here. I'm kind of looking for a tone on tone. Okay, I'm having blurriness, which I don't normally have. All right, so let me leave that there and see if that does it. It's blurry again. Okay, I got a little texture. Okay. Let's add, there's a little more on there. I'm going to see if I can get to pick up. I'm going to use a clean brayer. And I don't care if the paper wrinkles. All right, that picked up some of that chevron. This is clean over here. I'm just trying to pick up the chevron places where I still see paint. So that gave like kind of pink on pink. Hi, Glinda. I have gremlins visiting with the fuzziness. Or did I have a troll? Hi, Trudy. All right, so let's let that dry. And let's pick that up. It's real pale. I'm leaning towards a little bit of this green gold with white. The fuzzy camera issues. Yeah, I don't normally have those. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of white. I'm going to have to. Sometimes it's hard to get used to how much paint when you haven't jelly printed in a while. You need. All right, I'm going to put just a little bit of that PBO green gold. And this is that little brayer. I'll just use it because it's in my hands. It's going to be good except for in the middle of the plate. Okay. So this will be a cleanup print. And I cannot get very good ghost prints. And that's crooked as all get out, Debbie. I think I don't know if it's the humidity. I used to be able to, and then as this plate got older, yeah, it has a little chirp, doesn't it? Yeah, I still have scrapbook paper that I use in projects, but most of the time I use my own papers. Okay. That is luscious. Like that would make a really good bunny. And that's what I was kind of looking for. And I'm not even mad that green kind of went more on the yellow color. But I'm trying to get some pastels because that's what I don't have enough of. I think I want to add some pattern to this. And I'm thinking either the magenta is what I'm going to, I think I'm going to use the magenta. I don't want to switch stencils. And then we'll have that magenta layer to do a cleanup print with something else. Like I said, I don't need blues and greens. I have those colors a lot. Okay. I'm going to do these circles. And then I think I'll add the chevrons at the top. And I'll tell you, most of my stencils I've cut on the silhouette using the index binder, those dividers. You get them 8 for $1 at the Dollar Tree. See, here we go again. Okay, so that's good. I know it's a little brighter, but it's pink on pink. And let's add. I'm gonna see if I can pick up any more. I'll use the baby brayer. These little chevrons are not my favorite stencils. They're too thick to get a good print through sometimes. Okay, that made that more interesting. Yeah, it's popping today, isn't it? In and out. Let me see if I can turn. Well, the anti-flicker is on. Let me go to advanced real quick. All right, I'm going to take auto. I'm going to focus it. And I'm going to take autofocus off. All right, maybe if we lock the focus. All right, let's see if that doesn't stop with the focus issue. Okay, that's kind of dry. And let's pick it up with a little white. And maybe a little lavender. Now this satin version is not as liquid. Coming out a little thicker. Well, let me know if I stop skipping or it continues to skip. Okay, Shauna? I'm not seeing flickering on my end. I'm not seeing the in and out as much. But I can turn the autofocus back on if we need to. Oh, that one turned out pretty. I like the splotchiness I'm getting in the cleanup sometimes, like where the paints don't mix in the background. Okay. Let's try yellow. Okay, so I'm going to start with a raw sienna. Let's try that. And let's try a little bit of like a lattice type print. I don't see anything I want to add that to, so I'll just put it on a piece of white. Purple and teal. Okay. Like a lavender and a baby teal, maybe. These are stencils that I cut using my Silhouette. And they're just files that I bought for like 50 cents or $1 in the Silhouette online store. And then I cut them using my Cameo. Okay, now I like that. And the reason why I'm going to leave the white is because when I'm watercoloring a collage, I can have that brown and then I can put another color like a pink. So I tend to leave this stuff right here like this and like to keep some of that in my collage papers. All right, now let's pick this up. Let's let this dry and let's pick this up with a pale I was going to do a yellow, but my problem is I don't really like the yellow that I have. Is the problem probably. Let's do some turquoise. And let's pick it up with a little bit of turquoise. And maybe just even a little bit of this darker turquoise in there. And let's put some dots of white. Bye, Dot. If it gets late, am I going into Z's time? She's not on yet, is she? I think I still have time before she's on. Something came off the brayer. Okay, let's do a cleanup with that. I don't think she started. About 3 minutes till she comes on. Okay, so this will be our last pull. I thought I still had time. I knew I was pushing it. Okay. That even picked up some magenta off the plate. But I like it. So we're going to do, I'm going to start with the teal, Shauna, and then we'll pick it up with lavender. And let's put in, this is a darker metallic teal. We'll put that in there too. Throw in a little, because you got to have shimmer. All right, and let's do this on part of it, and this on the other part. Pick that up. Is it 7:30 Eastern? All right, and I'll leave that white because that works also with watercolor. We'll let that dry. Let's see if I can get some paint off these stencils. And this will be my last pull. And then it'll be time for Z. And let's use this pale lavender. And let's put a few drops of white. No, Z's not doing magicals to my knowledge. I think something about a mermaid, and I think it's some of the products that she got. Okay, that's probably plenty of paint. There's a dark purple, a light purple, and a little bit of white. And I said, let's keep that kind of mottled look going. Yeah, I have magicals. I want to get some of that watercolor medium, and I want to see about making some tins with the magicals and the watercolor medium. I thought about trying that. When I've tried to use them just with water, I don't get very good results. When I try it just on a brush. All right, that's pretty, Shauna. Let's throw a little white on here. And actually, let's throw a little bit of this lavender, and we'll do, I said that was it, but there's still a little too much. I want to get some of this paint off though. We'll do these circles, and we'll put this grid. We'll pick up some of that, and then we'll do a cleanup with white. They are permanent. So there's just a purple and white. Okay, I got a couple places that the paint didn't pick up that I'm just using the edges to clean up a little bit better. All right, I'm actually going to even take a little out there. All right, then let's just do white and do a cleanup with that. And then yeah, as long as they are fully dissolved, they are permanent. It's like the ink tints. It has to be fully dissolved. If it's not fully dissolved and you go to do something else, it will. Get rid of those stencils. I got to flip my brayer paper again. All right, did the flicker stop when I turned the autofocus off? You can buy watercolor medium, Jeannie, that is already got gum arabic, glycerin, and honey in it that's already mixed. Schminky sells it, and a place called Natural Pigments sells it. I think Krimmer sells their own. Different companies sell it. I'm going to try the one from a place called Natural Pigments. I'll tweet you the link. I'm still not going to get all this paint off the plate. We'll just leave that for next time. It's kind of a grungy. You can see the patterns real faint. But I got some of that turquoise too. So that's going to be my last pull. So we can head on over to Z's and see what she's doing. I will probably stream tomorrow night. It's Monday, right? I will stream tomorrow night because Ella's not streaming this summer. So I know Monday nights are free since I'm off. And I guess what I'll do is do my little watercolor bird tomorrow night and maybe play with another bear that I'm working on. All right, I'm going to end this stream. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you guys at Z's. It's Scraps to Beauty is her channel. if you don't subscribe to Xandra. All right, guys. Okay, the flickering stopped when I took the autofocus. I think the main thing is I was jelly printing and there was so much white because I don't normally have that camera. Thanks, Trudy. All right, guys, I'll see you later.